when we set in stone goals, I want 10K months. I need to be engaged by the end of the year. I need to do this by that date. If my boyfriend doesn't propose by the end of 2026, I'm gonna break up with him. If your goals look like that and they have a constraint, if they have a limitation, if they have an end date, if they have it better happen by whatever, you're telling God that you feel like you have control. You're choke holding the goal, right? You're literally like just like you're choking the goal versus setting the desire. Hello, my beautiful muses, and welcome to my very first visual podcast episode. This is the surprise I had for you all in the new year. I really wanted to connect with you guys visually, and it just feels so good. It feels like I'm letting you into my house, into my realm, and setting up this little studio thing in my office was so much fun. I really just wanted to feel like a vibe. I wanted it to feel like a place where I can come and talk to you all and connect visually. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or anything like that, you can't see me, but if you go on YouTube and follow the link in the description, you'll be able to see me there. I would love for you guys to follow the channel, subscribe, share with other people if you feel called to see my face. It's going to be a little more challenging for me, and this is going to stretch me as well, because in the past I just record podcast episodes that just come to me, whether I look crazy, I'm in my pajamas, or whatever else. And I might get on here in my pajamas. That is a possibility, but I really wanted to just show up for you guys and do things that challenge me, because that's all this podcast is about. It's about discovering ourselves, gaining emotional mastery, really expanding ourselves, expanding our desires, and that's exactly what this first episode is going to be, and I felt like it was perfect for the new year. Also, I speak with my hands a lot, so you guys are going to see a lot of movement. I'm Latina, and I just can't help it, so if I don't move my hands, I don't feel like I'm speaking the truth about things, or passionately. So let's get into it, because this is something that was really, really hard for me to face, because for so long I set goals, and it didn't feel good. It honestly didn't feel good. Even writing them out, maybe there was some excitement to accomplish the goals, but after I would write them, there was the sense of stress and anxiety that would come my way, that I would feel in my body. But sometimes in some years it worked, right? So if I had a list of 10 goals and 10 things I wanted to accomplish, I would either get close to them, or I would accomplish 2 out of the 10 or 5 out of the 10. And so I was like, well, this works, right? Setting the goals, visualizing what it would look like, putting it on paper, all these things that a lot of us do, we're like, this is gonna work. And then we set the goals. January comes, February comes, March comes, all these different months come, and then eventually you feel exhausted, right? You feel like you're letting yourself down. You feel like it's too much. Another one was I visually would put it on a vision board in my the background of my laptop. I would visually put the things that I wanted to accomplish. I remember one year I was an Amazon seller, and one of the things on my visual board was 10K months on Amazon, and felt this hesitation even putting it on. I remember putting it on and being like, ooh, I'm barely making 2K a month on Amazon, let alone 10K, but let's put it on there, because this is how we set goals. We have to shoot for the stars. I had all these ideas of what setting goals should look like, but I didn't realize that they were a mismatch to who I am, my past, my triggers, my traumas, and my nervous system. And without getting too technical, I will just share my story, and I want to see how it relates to you. I want you to put yourself in my shoes and see where goal setting and putting all these things on a list, or giving yourself too much, is actually probably hurting you and actually getting you further from the things that you want the most. And so it wasn't up until maybe 2.5, 3 years ago where I decided, you know what, I'm not setting goals anymore. I'm gonna really get clear on what I want to feel and why I want these things, right? Because the 10K months is stressing me the F out. And the reason it was stressing me out is because I came from a very inconsistent background with money. There was scarcity that I grew up with. There was so much scarcity I grew up with. And so when I thought about 10K months, when I barely even made 3 or 2, I was barely making 2K a month on Amazon at that time. And in my day job, I was barely breaking 3. So we're talking about, all in all, on a great month at that time, I was making maybe $5,000 a month. And me telling myself that my goal was $10,000 a month, in my nervous system that did not feel safe. 1, because I had never been there, and 2, because having money in the past was easily removed. Having money in the past was easily taken away. And so if you grew up in scarcity and you're setting goals that are not only scarcity, but you also grew up with volatility in money, it came and went, it came and went, there was always struggles with money, then setting a financial goal for yourself is actually going to stress out your nervous system, and subconsciously you're going to do things to sabotage it, and you're going to do things to get further from the thing that you want the most. And I started recognizing that about myself, because I sure did that. That year I was so far from, I think the most I made that year was maybe $3,000 or so on Amazon, but it definitely didn't make it to 10, didn't even get close. I lacked on things, I self-sabotaged, I forgot things, and I wasn't structured, I wasn't doing all the things that a 10K a month Amazon seller should be doing. And even though I knew I should do them, I just wasn't. I was like too busy doing this or that. I remember always feeling so busy during that time. I was like, I'll just keep myself busy, right? I'll just keep myself busy doing things. And I didn't realize I was dropping the ball on like the bigger financial goal that I had, because my goal at the time was to let go of my day job, which is insurance, and just do Amazon full time. And then I found out that Amazon was just misaligned because I was doing it for the wrong things. I was doing it for money. I wasn't doing it for the right feelings and the right emotions. And this is where self-discovery is so important. Is I think some women, and because I speak to you women mostly, I think some women are able to set a financial goal and go towards that, right? And sometimes they're just not attached emotionally to what that is, right? So they're able to just do the things and act and be more in their masculine energy. And although I do great in my masculine energy and I get things done and the to-do lists, everything just about that excites me, and I'm like so good at the masculine energy, I've realized here, just even recently in the last 2 years, that I am a very emotional person. I am an emotional mastery mentor, so of course I'm emotional, but I realized that I had to have some emotional connection to these goals and these things that I was desiring. I had to feel connected to them. And I realized that the goals that I was accomplishing, I remember having a healthy relationship. Like I found it on Pinterest, and it was like this little circle, and it said healthy relationships. It was like a diaphragm of some sort, and it had like what those healthy relationships would look like, and like little quotes and things that had to do with healthy relationships. And I remember that was one of my goals 3 years ago. And I remember that was the year that I went even deeper into my therapy. I went even deeper into couples therapy with the person that I was with at the time. I really asked like the people that were around me, like, how can I be a better friend? How can I be a better aunt? How can I be a better this or that? And I really dove deep into those things because I was emotionally connected to them, because that's something that mattered to me more in a energetic level, in an emotional level, in my hierarchy of needs. Being emotionally connected and having healthy relationships mattered more to me than 10K months. But because I was putting my validation and I was putting all my eggs in one basket, which was like the monetary stuff, I was going to just have this misalignment. And so when you're setting goals, I want you to think of it like this. When we set in stone goals, I want 10K months. I need to be engaged by the end of the year. I need to do this by that day. And if my boyfriend doesn't propose by end of 2026, I'm going to break up with him. If your goals look like that and they have a constraint, if they have a limitation, if they have an end date, if they have a better happen by whatever, you're telling God that you feel like you have control. You're choke holding the goal, right? You're literally like just like you're choking at the goal, versus setting the desire. I desire to be engaged by the end of the year. Hey, you're going to be engaged to me. You're going to want to marry me. Hey, money, I'm going to have 10K months. It's just going to flow to me. I'm going to make all that money. I'm going to know exactly what to do with it. Like, how do you seduce the money? How do you seduce and flirt with the things and the desires that you want versus choke holding it? If you think that goals are a frequency, which one do you think that it's going to respond to? Like, not many of us respond to getting like choked by the neck and being told, you better do this by this date and this better happen. That just feels like, ooh, exhausting, right? Versus just letting it go and saying, hey, I want you, I desire you, and I'm going to work on being a match to it over here. But hey, money, hey, fiance, hey, whatever you want, hey, love of my life, hey, kids, like whatever you're desiring for the next year, the desire and the flirtation and the feeling that can come from that is so much more powerful than choke holding your goals and thinking this needs to happen by then. And then you compound the emotions, and then you feel disappointed, shame, and guilt. And it doesn't happen at the end of the year. It happens around March, around February, around April, when we're like, ooh, I said I was going to go to the gym every day and I was going to lose 10 pounds by March. That was my goal January 1st. And now it's April and I've probably gained 5 pounds. So now I'm in the negative. Ooh, that chokehold that you put on that goal, you didn't give it flexibility. You could have probably lost 13 pounds if you were more like, what do I desire? I want to work out. I want to feel good. How do I feel better naked? How do I feel better in my body? How can I flirt with a desire, seduce the desire? How can I be a match to the desire versus I need you to happen, and if it doesn't happen, then I'm going to feel shame, I'm going to feel guilt. And so that's what I realized I was doing so much. And it was funny, the year that I had no weight goals or physical goals, I remember that year I was the skinniest I had ever been, still veganish, and so I wasn't like eating the healthiest probably or the cleanest, but I was pretty skinny. I actually felt good in my body, I felt good in my clothes, I felt good in all those things. And that was a year that I did not set a goal for that at all. Like, I don't even think I talked about my physical appearance because I was going so deep in here. And that's another part of this episode that I want us to remember. Part of that grip and that chokehold is when you want to force things, is that needing it to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I am not okay with it. That needy energy, the world, the universe, God doesn't respond to needy energy. Because if something's for you and having that faith that it's already there, it's going to happen. Like, hey, I want you. You're going to want me. I know it for a fact. Whether it's a person, the 10 pounds you want to lose, any of those things, the moment you release the control and you release the needing it to happen, happen, it happens. When you shift your focus, it happens. And so the two biggest things that I've done to completely shift this for me is I stay busy being a match to the things that I want. That's part one. I shouldn't say two things. That's part one. I stay busy becoming a match to the things that I desire the most. I don't even like using the word want. Desire. There's a difference. I want that. I desire that. Passion. I desire. I will have. I want a cheeseburger for lunch. It's not that exciting, but I desire my man. Sounds exciting. It sounds passionate. So I love to use the word desire, and the words you speak into your life do matter, and how you say things energetically matter. So don't ever forget that. But let me not get sidetracked here. So that's part one. Part two, I even did it with a girlfriend here recently. I went to the beach and we were just talking about money and business, and I was like, what do I feel like the things I want money to bring me are, right? And I started listing them. I'll be vulnerable here with you guys, and I was like, well, I think for money, what I want money to make me feel is safety, right? When we have money, we feel safe. We feel like we can make decisions, we can do things. And so I was like, okay, money equals safety. That's why I want money. It's because it equals safety. It allows me to give to more people. Giving. All right, money equals giving. It allows me to have time freedom. All right, money equals time freedom. And I'll just do those three because I'll forget the rest. And so her and I, what we started doing, and this is something I'd done before and I wanted to do with my girlfriend, was let's talk about how we can tap into those emotions right now. And that's how I'm becoming a match to the things that I desire, right? And I will reiterate all this because it's a lot to think about, but it's actually not. It's really simple. And once you start practicing, it just all makes sense. And it doesn't feel heavy, like setting the concrete goals that have to happen by a certain date. And if not, you're a failure. And so we went down that list. And so for safety, I said, okay, how can I make myself feel safety right now without the X, Y, and Z money I think I need, right? To feel that safety. And I was like, well, I can show up for myself consistently, which I do a pretty good job, but I could always be better at that. I can show up for myself consistency because that creates safety in my body because it shows me that I've got me. And so safety, that's one way to do it. I could also, and this sounds a little, I don't want to say crazy. Crazy is not the word. And this sounds a little bizarre, but I love doing meditations, either guided meditations with myself, things that I've recorded already, safety meditation, where I really like tap into my body and I allow myself to feel safe within my body, within my solitude, within my presence. And so doing even that more, I haven't done that actually in months. And when I wrote it down, I was like, oh, I haven't done that, right? And so I start tapping in to those emotions. I can start tapping into those safety emotions right now without needing the financial money. I think I said having like weekly check-ins with money. So I just started my business. If you heard my last episodes, I started my commercial insurance business. Of course, I have my mentorship programs with you guys. It's exciting things that are happening with that, so stay tuned. And I realized like the more money I get, I need to figure out what to do with it, right? So I'm gonna give myself money check-ins. And that's gonna create safety with me and money and the relationship I have with money, because everything's a relationship, and I'll get back to that here now. And so I did the safety, and then I already forgot what the second one was. TikTok. Giving. See, like this is like real now. You guys get to see me. The other one was giving. And I was like, well, how can I give to the people that I love the most right now? Whether it's even without having the money I think I need to buy presents, to do activities, to have experiences. How can I give to them right now without needing to have that money right now? And I was like, well, I can give him my time and I can give him my energy. How can I be a better friend? How can I be more present? How can I be more mindful? And that's going to create that same emotion that I want to feel when I have the money I desire. And then the other one was time freedom. I have a lot more time freedom now because I am out on my own and I'm doing my own thing. And I've actually been practicing this one for a while, but I am so grateful. I tap into gratitude when I have the time freedom. Whether it's I get to go run errands at 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of the day. I don't need to ask anyone for permission. Like I sit here and I'm like, I am so thankful. I'm literally recording this. Like I think it's like 10:30 right now. I couldn't do this when I worked for somebody, right? So I already have the time freedom. How can I have more gratitude for what I already have? How can I have more gratitude for the things that I can already feel right now? I get to go on vacations when I want. I get to do all these things already. So it's like, how can I tap into more of that gratitude when I have that time freedom? Because sometimes we think like time freedom or the things that we really are chasing or after, that they're going to make us feel better when we're there. But if we can't appreciate or have enough gratitude for the little time freedom, how can you have a lot of appreciation and gratitude for the big time freedom, for having days on end where you don't have to work? Like you won't even know what to do with yourself if you don't start having gratitude and practicing and understanding yourself better, right? And so when you realize everything is a relationship, so whether some of your goals are financial, financial or they're relational, right, with the people closest to you, or they're in your job and your work. If you don't own your own business, anything you do is a relationship. You have a relationship with your coworkers, you have a relationship with your boss, you have a relationship with your friends, with your family, with your spouse, with your partner, whoever's in your life, and you have a relationship with money. And I did say this year I'm going to talk a little bit more about money because money and love are so relatable. A lot of our same patterns and self-beliefs around love are the same patterns and self-beliefs that we have around money. And so what I realized in tapping into the powerful love that I have now with TJ is that the same things that I've had to overcome and I've been challenged with there, I've been challenged with in money as well. So I'm going to tap into that and talk to you guys about it a little more because everything is a relationship. And so now at the beginning of the year, if you've already written out your goals or you haven't, I challenge you to go back into your goals or write your goals in a viewpoint of what emotions do I want to feel when I accomplish these? Why do I want these and what emotion do I want to feel, right? Like sometimes we don't even question why we want something, right? We see somebody else have it, or we think we should be doing this, or we should have it by a certain age, or we should do that. Like I should have kids by 35. I should be married by now. I should do these things. Like we chokehold all these ideas that we feel like we need to do and have because either someone else put that idea in our brain, because we saw it on social media, because we see somebody that we like on social media have it, or whatever, right? It comes from somewhere. But when you ask yourself, like, why do I actually want this? And what emotion do I want to feel when I get it? And then you work on becoming a match to that emotion, to that feeling while working. You know, obviously you have to do the work, right? So I'm not saying like here, like I actually don't like the word manifestation because I don't feel like we can manifest things into existence all the time. We have to work. We have to do the background work. But as you're busy doing the background work and becoming a match to the thing's working itself out. And sometimes, and most of the time, even better than what we thought and what our little 2025 goal was. We look back and we're like, my gosh, you know, like one thing I actually regret, and if you're listening to this, I go do it, because like start saving all your goals and start saving all the things that you want for the year and that you desire, because I wish I had them all so I can look back and be like, wait a minute, I wanted that 3 years ago. I have this and it's even better. Like, why would I want this? I can't believe that I thought that was the best it could get. Like sometimes we write goals and we're like, this is just the best that it can get. No, it's just the best that you can see. It's the best that you have access to see right now. It's the best that your energy can expand to right now. So sometimes we want something, but when we get something else and it's even better years later, we kind of feel silly for even wanting the thing that we were so gung-ho about and we wanted to happen and needed to happen so badly. And so ask yourself, why do I really want this? And what emotion do I want to feel? Become an energetic match to it. And I think that if you're an emotional person and you're more of a feeler and you are less in your masculine energy, like you're less in your logical mind, this goal setting way is going to resonate with you a lot more. It's going to help you feel free and expansive. And it's going to allow you to just dream bigger. It's going to allow you to think of what's possible in life versus the strict goal setting. I do believe it works for some people, but do a little self-discovery to ask yourself, like, okay, if I have a financial goal, what was my relationship with money growing up? Okay, it was this. So obviously if I set a really strict goal, that's not going to work. Or maybe you had a lot of stability and foundation and you saw money just always coming in and your relationship with money is actually healthy, then great. Set those really strict goals and make them happen. It's all about getting to know ourselves. I don't believe that there's any black or white, this way or that way of doing things. Like my goal is always to help you muses rediscover yourself in a way that feels good to you. And I was so called to make this the first episode, and thank you so much for sitting through it, and hopefully you saw it visually. And please go subscribe to the YouTube channel and share it with anyone that you think might like this. And I cannot wait to record another episode. See you guys next week. Bye.